Go ahead. There. Aha! And make your way, Johan. We've just found her. She's static on the ground, lying here. Ah, what a joy. Well done. Isn't that fantastic, everyone? There she is. Shadow. Fast asleep. I think it's Shadow. Is it? Yes, she's got suckle marks. She's still got suckle marks, everyone. Yeah, just come to Gary May and Zoe's junction and head west, and you'll get us visual just north of the road. So she's still got suckle marks, everybody. I don't believe she's lost those cubs. Where they are, I couldn't begin to tell you. It might be in this very termite mound next to which I'm parked. She looks very comfortable, doesn't she? Dave, can I ask you to super zoom in on the spots just below her nose? Now she's supposed to have, Shadow has a 3-4 spot pattern. Is that as close in as we can get? There we go. So she should have 4 spots there, which unfortunately is a bit of grass, but looks like 4 spots on the right. You see them there, everybody? Often people find it difficult to understand what I'm talking about until you get a close-up like that. Just behind the grass and the sort of moving vegetation, you can see 1, 2, 3 just above that, and then just behind that another one, 4 spots. This is wonderful. What a stroke of luck. I suspect she was lying right here when we drove past earlier. Sorry, Rebecca, the game drive radio went again. You'll have to give me Tony's question, which I've clean forgotten on the excitement of seeing this leopard. The biggest omnivore in Africa, Tony. I guess the biggest omnivore in Africa would be the chimpanzee, I suppose. I think a big adult chimpanzee probably weighs... Any idea what it weighs? Probably about the same as, maybe a bit heavier than a human, maybe about 120 kilos. So that's probably what the biggest omnivore in Africa would be. Although, I mean, a big bushbuck probably weighs a similar amount. Not bushbuck, bush pig. A bush pig is very omnivorous. They're very kindly found for us by the chap from Elephant Plains, who unfortunately for him is not allowed to drive in here. C'est la vie. Just before everyone else gets here, I want to move us slightly so that we can, well, we don't need to move around a little bit later. I'm just going to turn around so that I can look you in the eye every so often. If that works for you, Dov?
That'll work.
Oh, she's up. Is that okay, Dave?
Yep.
Sorry, let me just do this. Now we're going to be joined by another school, everyone, in about 10 minutes. And what a joy they're going to have when they see this leopardess. Hopefully she won't disappear across the boundary while we're sitting. Look at her, how regal she looks. Oh, she's magnificent. we go. Right, hello. Mrs. Altman and Miss Kennedy's class here at Glenwood Elementary School, Virginia Beach, Virginia. We've just found a leopard and we're watching her disappear through the bushes here. She may well move now south to where we can't see her anymore. So I'm just going to stop here and let you get a good view of her quickly. There she goes, just in case we don't see her again. Isn't that lovely? My favorite cat of Africa, that one. Look at her. Yeah, she looks like she's going to go across the boundary. She's lifting her tail like that to show the birds that see her that she's not a threat to them. They'll start shouting at her and alarming. Let me just get into a position where we can see her and then we'll stop. I'm afraid that's going to be it, everyone. There she goes. Unfortunately, we can't go any further. We can't follow her. Or if she moves along that particular line, we can, but I think she's going to go south. Yep, that's south, the direction she's going in. Oh, that's lovely. Kids at Glenwood, you are so lucky that that is the very first African animal you saw. A truly special cat to see. And she's a mum. She's got 2 little babies, only about 2 months old now. They're going to have their 2nd month birthday, if you like, in about probably 3 or 4 days' time. Wasn't that special? What a great way to join us. All right, we're going to carry on. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. As you were. Okay, we'll keep going and see if we can look. She might still be on the road where we can see her, everyone. Maybe she's on this termite mound. She loves a termite mound. No, she hasn't stopped here. She's moving along. We might get a view of her through here, but I think she's going to go further and further south. Yeah, we don't seem to have a gear. Hello. Hi there. Did you get a good view? Okay, sure. Have you lost her? Yeah. Okay. Oh, there she goes. There she goes. Final view you'll get of her just through there. Oh, there we go. Brilliant. Yeah, you got her, Dave. That was her. Wonderful. Okay, thanks a lot. We're going to carry on. Not sure where to, but that was wonderful. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, mate.
Right, let's see what else we can find. I'm not sure how long you're with us, Glenwood Elementary School in Virginia Beach, Virginia, but we'll try and find you some other lovely African animals. I know you were supposed to be with us yesterday, but unfortunately our satellite went down. We don't know why, but it's back now. Well done, David. My name is James, by the way, and Dave is on camera. Hello, Ryan. You say, what goes a further distance, an ostrich or a cheetah? I don't know. Let's think about it. You know, they actually both live in very similar habitat types. They both like to live in open areas, and they both can live in quite dry, desert-like areas. So I'd say they probably move about the same distance. A cheetah is much faster than an ostrich. An ostrich can run at about 45 to 50 miles an hour, but a cheetah can run at 60 to 65 miles an hour, which is very fast indeed. I'm just trying to plan my next route. You say, why do elephants have such a big memory, and why are they bigger than a bug? Well, let's answer the first question. Caitlin, they've got such a big memory, I think, because they're very clever. They're like human beings. They've got a huge brain, and that means they've got lots of space to store lots of memories in. And, sorry, say that again, Rebecca. Why have they got such a big bus? Oh, those people, why have they got such a big bus? Oh, okay, I understand. Right, Rebecca is in hysterics now, so she's totally useless to me at this stage of the day. Oh, why are elephants bigger than a bus? They're not. I'm so confused. Caitlin, your question's very good. Let me turn around quickly, and then I will tell you why elephants are bigger than a bus. Okay. All right. Caitlin, so elephants have got a very good memory because they've got big brain in the same way that we have a big brain, and we obviously remember quite a lot of things, and they are as big as a bus because that's how they've evolved to be. And it helps them because they're able to eat lots of things that other animals can't eat because they're so big. They eat fruits and twigs and branches and leaves and all sorts of other things like that. And they couldn't do that if they weren't as big as they are. What a very good question. And Evan, a slightly more conventional question. Why is it that leopards have spots like cheetahs? Well, why do you think, Evan? Spots, of course, are very much like when an army person wears camouflage. It helps them to stay hidden from the enemy. And a predator needs those camouflage spots so that it can hide from the things that it's trying to catch. And, sorry, you got a view of my bald head there. Nobody should have to see that. So they've got those spots, Evan, so that they can keep themselves hidden from the things that they like to eat. And they like to eat things like impala, which are a bit like the deer that you have in the United States. And that's why they have spots. So it's very difficult to see them. If we were to see a leopard walking through this bush here, it would be very difficult to see because of those spots, and it's the same reason that a cheetah has spots. Hello, Kiara. That leopard that we just saw, you want to know how old she is? She's 9, and she's got 2 little babies who are now 2 months old. So that's quite nice. And we know she's got babies because we haven't seen them, but lots of other people have seen them. And you also would have seen underneath her, she's got what we call suckle marks. And just like if you've got a house cat or you've got a dog, you know they've got nipples on the belly, on the underside. And we could see hers was swollen, and that's because the little ones are still drinking milk. They're still nursing. 9 years old. And that, of course, remember, animals out here don't live as long as people. Dominic, your question is, have there been any bad storms in Africa? Now, Dominic, if I would say to you, have there been any bad storms in the United States, what would your answer be? Your answer would probably be, well, where in the United States do you mean? Because there in Virginia Beach, you probably have hurricanes every so often, right? But you know that in Arizona or up into Wyoming or those parts of America, you don't get the same hurricanes that you get in Virginia Beach. Now, Africa is even bigger than the United States. In fact, it's about 3 times the size of the United States, which means that if you say, have there been any bad storms in Africa? The answer is yes, but the question is, where in Africa do you mean? So, we're in the southern tip of Africa, we're in South Africa, and we get sort of off the east coast of where we are is a country called Mozambique. They get very bad storms called cyclones, which are very like your hurricanes. And then in this particular area, we don't get very bad storms. Sometimes we do. Maybe once a year we have hail, which of course is ice that comes out of the ground. But otherwise, we don't have very bad storms in this part of Africa. Some parts of Africa, yes. Up in the Sahara is a huge piece of Africa up in the very far north. Long way from here. It can take us 8 hours to fly there. They have very bad wind and sandstorms where there's no water, just great big clouds of sand flying across the desert. So it really does depend on which part of Africa you're talking about, Dominic. Nice question. Here's a question from somebody whose name I cannot hear because I'm going to ask Rebecca to spell it to me. Spell it, please. Interesting name. Zadrin, I hope we're saying it correctly. Xadrin. Zadrin, you want to know if it's cold out here at night. Depends. In summertime it's very hot. In summertime it's hot the whole time. But then in the middle of the winter, and we're going into winter, you go into summer, we go into winter, then it is quite cold at night. I don't think it's as cold as it gets in Virginia Beach though, but it does get a little bit cold at night here in the winter time. But it's not cold at night now. Here are some impala, everybody. These are the antelope that I was talking about that those leopards like to eat. And Eli, we were talking about rain a little bit earlier, and you want to know if we get much rain here. We do get some rain here, Eli. Not a huge amount of rain. We get we've only had 4 inches this year. Normally we get about, what would we normally get? We get in centimeters, 60 centimeters, which is about 24 inches of rain. So we normally get about 24 inches. Which is much less than you get in Virginia Beach. Probably about half, if I'm not mistaken. And just listen to the piece, everybody. What I want you to do is be very quiet in your classroom. Be very, very quiet. And I want you to shut your eyes for 10 seconds and take a deep breath in and listen to all the sounds that you can hear now. Okay, now open your eyes, everyone, and still keep listening and still keep very silent. You can hear all the birds. You can see the impala are eating their supper. You can see the sun has just gone down. You may have even heard that woodpecker going tack, 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 knocking on the tree. There, did you hear that? Ta, 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 ta. It's a very peaceful time of day, everybody. Okay, you can carry on with your questions now. It's just a very peaceful time of day, and I hope that you had the opportunity someday to come out here. But if you don't, there'll be lots of nice places around Virginia Beach where you get that same sense of peace, where you can listen to the birds and smell the fresh air. And that's why I like to live out here. Dominique, you're wondering why the animals are making all the noises. Well, these animals, the ones you're looking at now, are not making any noise at all. They're completely silent. But the birds are making a noise because they're singing to each other. The males are singing to the females, and the males are singing to each other, telling each other where their territories are. It's like advertising. Some of the insects are calling, like you get crickets, I'm sure, in Virginia Beach. The crickets here are stridulating. They're rubbing their back legs against the sides and making a whistling noise. The woodpecker's tapping because he's looking for food to eat in a tree. Lots of different things going on here. Paige, you're very clever. You've obviously been either watching this before, or you've been out here maybe, or you're just very well read. You say, why is it that a warthog will go and live in an aardvark's burrow once the aardvark leaves? Well, Paige, the reason is because a warthog cannot dig on its own. It's not a good digger. But the aardvark is a better digger than anyone else around here. And they dig in termite mounds, and a warthog can't dig in a termite mound, and so it has to wait until the aardvark has dug a hole for it, and then moved house, and then it can go in and live in that hole. But that's why they live in other animals' burrows. Good question. Let's go down this way and see what we can find here. And Christian, you want to know if hyenas laugh. Christian, hyenas do not laugh, but they do make a sound that's like laughing. So, they make a number of different sounds. If you find a hyena, if a hyena finds some food and it wants to tell its friends about the food, it will often make a noise that sounds like it's laughing. It will go, which sounds like laughing. But they aren't really laughing, they're calling their friends. Then, sometimes when it's very dark at night, and the hyena wants to tell its friends or tell the other hyenas that this is its territory, it will go like this. It'll go, and that sound will travel for miles and miles, and all the other hyenas in the area will know that particular hyena, that's his place or her place. I'm just listening to the radio. Sorry, 1 second everybody. One station. 1 second everybody. Sorry, 1 second everybody. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything on this. Last station confirmed, that is the sighting on Buffelshoek. Sorry everybody. Last station confirmed, the kill you're talking about is the one on Buffelshoek. Never mind. There is a leopard somewhere, but not around here. Michaela, you want to know how tall a termite hill is. Well, Michaela, some termites don't build termite hills at all. Some of them have got burrows under the ground, and they run around in those burrows, and they never build a hill at all. And then some termites build hills that are maybe, I'm trying to think if there are any big ones around here. There's a big-ish one. Oh, look at that. There's a giraffe. Hello, Mr. Giraffe. Shh, everybody, let's not give him a fright. Isn't he great? I'm not going to move. I just wanted to give him a chance to move up onto the road because he's got very long legs, and that means that he can fall over if he's on ground like this, which leads quite steeply. So let's let him get onto the flat ground behind us, and then we'll move back and have a proper look at him. He's huge. He's about 1.4 meters tall, which is about... It's about, how tall is it? 1.4 meters. I'm talking absolute nonsense. He's about 3.4 meters tall. He's about 15 feet tall, everyone. 15 or 16 feet. He's huge. Isn't he nice? You can see the sun has already set. And so it's starting to go into what we call dusk. Just quickly, Michaela, you know what? A termite mound can sometimes be as tall as that giraffe, 16 feet tall. And it just depends on the area that you happen to be in. In this area, some of them get that tool. Look how cleverly hidden he is. Dominic, you are interested in fossils, obviously. You're obviously interested in dinosaurs, I'm sure, and you want to know if any prehistoric bones have been found in this area. We don't have lots of dinosaur bones here, no. So there are not many dinosaur bones that have been found in this particular part of Africa. But we do have various different kinds of fossils of even older things. So shells from fishes and from mollusks, which are like snails, from millions of years ago have been found in this area. Not much in the way of dinosaur bones. And if you look around, you can see here, there's lots of sand. It's not a very muddy area. And for a fossil to form, you need water and you need mud and silt and clay. And in this area, we don't really have that. And so I think you'll find that although probably dinosaurs did live here, well, that was so long ago that none of their bones survived. Nice question. Trent, the rarest animal that I've ever seen. No, giraffe is still there, but let's carry on and see what else we can find you quickly. I know we don't have all day. Trent, the rarest animal that I've ever seen here was probably something called an African wild dog. No, or a serval actually. Maybe a serval, which is a special kind of golden black cat, which we only very sometimes see in the night time. That's probably one of the rarest things I've seen. Otherwise, a wild dog, which is like the wolf of Africa, is a very rare animal to find here. I'm just trying to think anywhere else in the world what rare animals I've seen. I tried once to go, I was in Russia last year, and one of the very rare animals that they have there is called an Amur tiger. And I was hoping to find a tiger there, but I didn't see one because there's so few left. There are only about 250 left in the whole world. Now that might sound like a lot to you, but remember there are, well, you're sitting in an elementary school in Virginia Beach and there are probably about 500 kids just at your school. And Caleb, your answer to your question is yes and no. You want to know if we get turtles here. We don't get turtles. Turtles only live in the sea. And what we get here are tortoises. And tortoises are what we call, they look like turtles, but they live on the land, they don't swim. And then we also get very special things here called terrapins. And terrapins are like turtles, but they live in fresh water, they don't live in salt water. So the turtles that we get in South Africa live off the coast in the sea. And they get leatherback turtles and green hawksbill turtles and different kinds of turtles that come onto the beaches at night and lay their eggs. And then they go back out into the sea. But in this particular area, we get terrapins and we get tortoises. Now I'm just hoping maybe we'll come around the corner here and see a buffalo. But there are no buffalo here. That's very sad for us. Now, Ryan, it's a very good question you've asked. You've said, is the wildebeest in the buffalo family? Ryan, a wildebeest is not in the buffalo family. They're not too far away from each other. It's actually more closely related to the antelopes. So although it looks a bit like a buffalo, it's not actually what we call a bovid. It's what we call an antelope. But it does look like a buffalo, and I remember when I first started working in the bush, it was difficult for me to know the difference between a buffalo and the wildebeest. But if you see them standing next to each other, Ryan, you will never make a mistake. They look very different when they're standing next to each other. Nath, you're worried about being attacked, and has any animal ever attacked me? No, I've never been hit by an animal. I've had many animals warn me though and tell me to go away. And animals here don't do a lot of attacking of people. They're normally very afraid of people, and so if they do chase you, they're chasing you because they are afraid of you. There are some buffalo right there. Hooray. Here we go, Darby. There are some buffaloes, and they're lying in the mud. And I know lots of you will love playing in the mud. And unlike you, these buffalo don't have to go and have a bath and then have supper and go to bed. They can just lie in the mud as long as they want to. They like to do that because it's cool and it's comfortable and it helps them to get rid of ticks and other things that sit on their bodies and make them sick. So the mud is a very important part of a buffalo's life. Isn't that nice? So no, animals haven't attacked me. There have been a number of animals that have warned me and told me to get out of the way because they have felt afraid by me. And that's the same for just about every animal in the world. If you make an animal afraid enough, it will eventually chase you and tell you to go away. Very, 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 very few animals in the world will try and attack a human being to eat it. A polar bear is one, a crocodile is another, but otherwise very few. Look at this old bull, see how much mud he's got on him. Does he look happy? Oh dear, that buffalo's making an enormous poop. Shiloh May, you want to know if I hear loud noises in the night here? Sometimes we do. It's never silent, and in summer, especially after lots of rain, there are frogs and insects calling all through the night. But we hear these sounds, and we get used to them. It's the same way that if you live on a busy road, you get used to the sound of the traffic after a while, and you don't worry about the sound of the traffic. Sometimes at night, though, you'll hear buffaloes bellowing or being attacked by lions or that sort of thing. And Rihanna, we're just going to move down into this little drainage line here. Hopefully, there was a female leopard around there earlier today. We'll just see if we can't quickly spot her before it gets too dark. Rihanna, you want to know what kind of jeep this is? Yes, it is a bit ew and gross, isn't it, what those buffalo do? They're not very clean with that sort of stuff. But of course, it's just grass, their poop. And so it's not that gross at all, really. It's just chewed up grass. This kind of jeep is called a Land Rover, Rihanna. And it's a short Land Rover, it's a small one. And I'm sure you've got lots of what we call Discoveries driving around the United States. It's a bit like a Discovery, or you've probably got Jeep Wranglers. It's about the same size as a Jeep Wrangler. But it isn't a Jeep, it's what we call a Land Rover. So I'm just going to ask Dave Dave, if you wouldn't mind just pointing your camera down towards where those people are sitting, we'll just see if we can't see the leopard in there. Christian, you want to know what kind of animal the buffaloes eat? Christian, buffaloes don't eat animals. Buffaloes are like big cows. And Christian, you know what cows eat, don't you? They eat grass. No, we can't see the leopard. The leopard is there where those people are, off to the right-hand side of their vehicle. So they're very lucky they're looking at a leopard, but we did see a leopard earlier. So let's carry on. Ryan, you say, why are buffaloes so fat? Buffaloes aren't fat. They're just big. They're like a gridiron football player. If you think of a gridiron football player, he might look fat to you, but if he takes his shirt off, he's not fat at all. He's got big muscles, and that's what a buffalo's got. None of the animals out here are fat. You know, one of the only animals in the whole world that gets fat is a human being. The rest of the animals, they don't eat enough to get fat. And they eat grass all day, so it's very difficult for them to get fat, but they get lots and lots of big, powerful muscles. That's why they look like they're a bit fat. And Kiara, buffalo. Kiara, have you ever played in mud? I'm sure you have, and I'm sure you enjoyed it. So you want to know why buffaloes bath in mud? Well, Kiara, buffaloes bath in mud because they like it. It feels nice on their skin. When they're hot, they can cool down in the mud. And also, they get ticks. And I don't know if you know what ticks are. You do get ticks there in the United States. And they sit on the skin and they bite you. And buffaloes get lots of ticks. And so they like to get in the mud because the mud suffocates the ticks and kills the ticks, and then the ticks fall off. So that's why they lie in the mud all day. And Eli, you want to know about geysers? We don't have geysers, or probably as you call them, geysers. We don't have geysers here, no. Not in this particular area, but we do have a few in the country. There are some up in a place called Bella Bella, which is about, what did we say? Say about 350 miles from here, off to the west. We've got geysers there. And any other, we've actually got something in a place called Butt Glass, which is not too far, about maybe 150 miles from here. So there are a few places where there are geysers, but not like the ones that you have in Yellowstone. I don't think they're anything like as powerful or as spectacular as those ones that you have there. And a very clever question. Thank you for that. Now you can see it's getting dark, so what we'll start to do is we'll start to put the lights on. And Dominic, you want to know if we've ever seen lions before? Yes, lots of times. We see lions very often, and I'm hoping to see some tonight. But lions, of course, move very big distances, and so they won't always be on this little piece of land that we drive on. But with any luck, we'll spot them moving later on. Oh, and Shyla May, you want to know if I've ever seen a wolf pack before. And I haven't, you know, but I really want to see wolves. We don't get wolves here, Shyla. We get something called an African painted wolf, which is a very beautiful animal and my favorite animal out here. We definitely find them here, but I really want to see a wolf pack in the wild. And one day I hope that I'll be able to travel to Yellowstone and see wolves there. That would be wonderful. Ooh, Jacob, very good question. What kind of owls do we have? What I'm going to do is drive up to the top of this road here, and we'll stop, and I'll show you the pictures of the owls, and while we do that, we'll just listen to the sounds of the night beginning, and maybe we'll even hear an owl calling. Let's just drive to the top of the hill here, and I'll show you some owl pictures, and we'll see if we can hear the sounds of a few of them. Just want to get out of this very thick area. And Eli, you want to know if we use a different money system? Yes, absolutely we do. You use dollars and cents. We use something called a rand. A rand and cents. And it works the same way, where you've got 100 cents in a rand, same as you've got 100 cents in a dollar. Our rand, of course, we have to pay 14 rand to get 1 American dollar. Can you believe it? 14 rand. And that's because many adults in the world do very complicated things, some of which make our rand not so valuable anymore. Right, I'm going to just stop in the clearing up ahead here. And Eli, of course, we do use a very different system of measurement. We use what we call the metric system, and only you in the United States and the folk in the United Kingdom use what we call the imperial system. We use things like meters and kilometers and kilograms and grams, and you use feet and miles, which we don't use here. And you measure your temperature in Fahrenheit and not in Celsius, which is what we do. All right, let's just have a stop here. You can look at the beautiful view of the mountains off to the west there, while I find some pictures of owls to show you. And just listen very carefully and see if you can't hear an owl or two calling. Isn't that pretty, everyone? Beautiful, isn't it, Dave?
Breathtaking.
Breathtaking. That's the end of what we call the Drakensberg, everybody. I'm just trying to find you the owls quickly in this book. There, I did actually hear an owl, but I think it was too far for you to hear. It was a pearl-spotted owl going... Right, here's some of the owls. Right, we actually get lots of owls here. So we get the African wood owl is possibly found here. We definitely get a barn owl. You may well find barn owls where you are. They seem to be found in most parts of the world. There's a grass owl. We get that one too. Then we get all of these ones on this page. That's a tiny little owl called a Scops owl, about 6 inches long. This is called a white-faced Scops owl, and he's about 12 inches long. And the pearl-spotted owl is the one you just heard going... also about 8 inches. And the barred owl, which is also 8 inches, tiny little things. And here are the big guys. There's the biggest owl that we get here, the giant or Verreaux's eagle owl. That's 2 feet tall, 2 and a bit feet tall. Pretty large. And then just below that, the spotted eagle owl, which is just over about 1.5 feet tall. So we got lots and lots of different kinds of owls. And then we don't find this one specifically here, but we find it in the Sabi sands not too far from here. A very, very, very special owl. It's a fish-catching owl called the Pell's fishing owl. You see, it likes to hunt over the water, and it catches fish. Now, this is my favorite time of day, everybody, because everything is quiet, and everything is beautiful, and everything is still. And it's just so very special to watch the golden light on the horizon there. Kiara, you want to know what the time is here? It's about 5:45 in the evening. 5:45 in the evening, and we're in autumn, so we're in fall, what you would call fall. You're in spring, and we're in fall. It's 5:45 here, so I imagine over there it must be about 11:45. Pretty, hey? Alrighty, let's carry on. Austin, you want to know the cardinals in South Africa? Let me just, before I put this book away, there aren't any cardinals, but there's something similar called an oriole. In fact, an oriole is not similar to a cardinal. It's sort of similar. I don't think it's in the same family, though. I'll just quickly show you a picture of an oriole. I saw a cardinal when I was in the United States, and I thought it was the best-looking bird I'd ever seen. I suppose that's something a little bit like a cardinal, although a cardinal is more orange, I think, than yellow, isn't it? So we don't get cardinals here. And there'll be lots of families of birds that you get there in the United States that don't occur here. Isn't that nice? It's called an oriole. Alrighty. We're going to drive now with the spotlight and see if we can find anything here. Jacob, you want to know what kind of bats we have. Jacob, we have lots and lots of different kinds of bats. Many of them are very difficult to find, but we have vesper bats, we have free-tailed bats, we have fruit bats, we have toon bats, we have... I'm leaving one other kind of bat out. I don't know. Most of them eat insects, and of course the cleverest thing about a bat is that it finds its food using radar. If you can believe it. You believe that? I don't know if you know what radar is, but it's a very clever... Sorry, I'm just going to move things around a bit so I can get my spotlight out. Radar is where an animal uses sound instead of their eyes. So they use their ears, basically, to find prey to eat, which is a very clever thing to be able to do, I think. But we don't get vampire bats. Lots of people think that vampire bats occur all over the place, especially in Africa. But you only get vampire bats down in South America. Christian, you want to know if owls eat anything other than fish? Yes, absolutely they do. The only owl that eats fish is the Pell's fishing owl. And so the rest of them don't eat fish, Christian. The rest of them eat things like, let's take the Scops owl, which is that very little one. They eat mostly insects, things like that. And then you get the biggest one like the giant eagle owl, which eats what we call scrub hares, which are sort of like rabbits. They will eat mongoose. They might even eat very small antelope. So they eat absolutely everything. Some will eat insects and lizards. Some will eat frogs. Some will eat rats and mice. The barn owl, I'm sure you know, eats rats and mice. It's only the Pell's fishing owl that's clever enough to eat fish. Rihanna, you're saying, what time do we get up in the morning to start getting ready for drive? 4:30 in the morning, Rihanna, if you can believe it. Isn't that early? It's dark. It's this time of year, it's not too cold, but in winter it can be very cold. So we jump out of the bed at about 4:30, have a quick cold shower. Well, some of us have a cold shower, and then we have a nice hot cup of coffee, and then we go out into the dawn, where the light is very similar to this, but obviously the sun's coming up from the east, and it's a beautiful, beautiful time of the day. And I know it's difficult to get up very early in the morning, but if you can make yourself do it, it's just the best time of day. All right, chaps, from Glenwood Elementary School in Virginia Beach, Virginia, we're going to say goodbye to you, Mrs. Kennedy, or Miss Kennedy and Mrs. Altman. We will see you at another time, I hope. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm sure you're about to go and have lunch. Enjoy your lunch and enjoy the springtime, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye. Right, everybody, we're still going along. We've got another 40 minutes or so. We'll see what the night brings us. This will be one of the last very sort of darkish nights that we do, well, until it gets into midwinter, because on the 1st of May, we'll be shifting the time half an hour. I think we're going to get some amazing stars tonight, and we've got this new camera with us, so when the stars start to peep out, we'll start to see if we can see some of the different constellations that we get here, and I think that would be marvelous. Oh, no mugs when it comes to the wild. Rebecca, you say that I said hail comes from the ground. Rebecca, if I did say that, it must have been a moment of utter delusion. I don't think that hail comes from the ground. I'm not sure I'm not sure why I said hail comes from the ground. How very strange. No, hail doesn't come from the ground. It comes from the clouds. Maybe I said cloud very unclearly. Or maybe I just went mad briefly. That's quite possible. I'm obviously now extremely distressed that the final control took it upon themselves to laugh behind sniggering hands, while the children I thought hail came from the ground. Thank you, Rebecca in final control and Kirsten in final control. I will not be fetching you after this drive. You can walk home and face the hippos on your own. Oh, no. It's not, Dave, it's not. I thought it was a chameleon. Darlene, I think you're in New Hampshire, and you ask a question to which I do not know the answer, especially as I seem to think that hail comes out of the ground. You say, is there any real reason why birds have different color eyes, and do we know what that function is? I'm pretty sure that someone will know what that function is. I do not know what that function is, but it's a very good question. So, I mean, even birds like the spotted eagle owl's got yellow eyes, the Cape eagle owl's got orange eyes, the giant eagle owl's got black eyes, and so I don't know why, they eat relatively similar things. I don't know why they should have different colored eyes. I'm sure there's a reason, but I don't know what it is. I feel like I should know what it is. So anybody who does know what it is, please feel free to tell me. And indeed, feel free to tell me where hail comes from. If it doesn't come from the ground. Dave, did you know that hail doesn't come from the ground?
I do now.
You do now, but you also thought it came from the ground, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Dave and I both thought hail came from the ground. The most beautiful horizon. Look at that color there. Elaine from Kentucky, you want to know about salt and where the animals get their salt from. Do they get it from salt licks? No, we don't put salt licks out. We have put one or two out from time to time on quarantine clearings. Look at that color; it's unbelievable. But Elaine, we don't do it sort of as a matter of course. Animals get salt from the soil. They eat quite a lot of soil, actually. It's called geophagia. Basically means eating the earth. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to show you the mountains again because I want to look at them. Oh, too pretty. David, it might be time for one of my absolutely amazing photographs.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Pity those who have to look at it. We have to turn the lights off. There we go. Oh, it's going to be a classic, everyone. It's going to feature on National Geographic without question. There we go. Isn't that stunning? And I think it's indicative of how much dust there is in the air. That it's so red. It shouldn't be that red. Very, very pretty indeed. My poor mother, of course, who will be subjected to a slideshow the next time I see her, will have to ask me the question again. Do you ever take pictures of anything other than the sun? To which the answer will be not very often. Oh, Davey, here we go. It's going to be a good one. No, it's not. It's horrible. No, I'm not showing you that one, everyone. It's too ugly. Let's go to Buffelshoek Dam and see what's going on there, and then we'll start to have a peep at the stars. I'm driving with the wrong cameraman tonight, aren't I? James Bear, you want to know if me or any of the crew believe in UFOs? James, I wouldn't discount the presence of UFOs. I wouldn't discount the presence of alien life forms throughout the universe. Have I ever seen one myself? No, I don't believe that I have. Brian, who is quite into that sort of thing, he's taken a remarkable video of these strange things going past the sun. So he's fully into that sort of stuff. Do we report them? No, I mean, there's no one to report them to really here. The government doesn't seem to be particularly interested in anything other than feeding at the trough. So telling them about the odd UFO flying over, excuse me, would probably not result in anything well, it wouldn't result in any kind of response at all. Dave, you seen any UFOs?
I'll say I have to.
But I certainly wouldn't discount it, James, but there's not a big sort of movement around here to spot them. But Brian is the guy who knows all about South African UFOs and where they've seen and that sort of thing. We'll ask him next time you're on drive with him. I'm sure he'll tell you about it. Brian the Thumb, aka UFO. We're going to head towards Buffelshoek Dam now, like I say. see what's there, and then when it gets sufficiently dark, we'll start having a look at the night sky. I do desperately need to get one of those laser pointers so that I can point out what we're looking at. Oh, that horizon is just something exceptional. Maybe we'll find Mvula at Buffelshoek Dam. I say that every time we come down here, in the vain hope that the old boy will be around. Raisa, you want to know if the Table Mountain in Cape Town is part of the Drakensberg? I mean, my initial reaction is to say no, definitely not. But I think you may well find that it was formed by the same geological movement that formed the Drakensberg many million years ago. Officially, no, it's not. Was it formed by the same geological movement? It could have been. Do you know, Dave?
No, I don't.
I don't think it is, right? So I'm going to say no. I mean, it's certainly not part of the Drakensberg. Was it formed by the same geological upheaval many millions of years ago? I don't know. I don't think so, though. I mean, it's certainly not contiguous with the Drakensberg at all. So the Drakensberg stretches basically from those mountains you've just seen there down towards the left of your screens when you were looking at the mountains by about 600 miles, 600 to 700 miles, and then they kind of peter out. And then sort of in the Eastern Cape Highlands. And then you get the deserts and the Karoo, and there's not a huge escarpment there. And then you do get into the mountains of the Cedarberg, which Sam will tell you about, and then Table Mountain towards Cape Town. So I'm going to say no, I don't think that they are part of the same geological upheaval. Nice question, thank you, Raisa, all the way from Finland. Raisa, please will you send us a report on the weather conditions in Finland at the moment? I'm sure after a very lengthy winter, you must be quite pleased with the state of the weather at this stage. Nothing going on here at Buffelshoek Dam, everyone. I'm not going to stop. Let's just keep going. Much dust. Much dust. Right, you may lose us as we go down past the dam, but we are in Rusty, so maybe you won't. We might be lucky. Mike in Florida, we were chatting about weather conditions with the kiddies earlier on. You want to know if we get sandstorms in the Sabi sands? No, not at all. It's not enough sand, really, I don't think. And the wind does never really blow that strongly. So while it might get quite dusty every so often, we certainly don't get anything like sandstorms. Ooh, that dust has got right in my nose, David, right in my nose. I'm going to start sneezing any second now. Right, we're going north out onto the Buffelshoek cut line. And we'll see what we can find there. And if there are no aminals, we will look at the stars, which will shortly be very magnificent indeed. Rebecca, how much time do we have left? I just want to not stop too late. 24 minutes, okay. I want 15 minutes to look at the stars. So we'll drive back towards quarantine clearings. I think we'll probably stop there. Let's give up this difficult spot. And I believe you're all laughing at my hail comment. Yes. I didn't find it quite so funny. I'm deeply hurt that I thought hail came from the ground and nobody agreed with me. There are going to be children rushing home all over Virginia Beach saying to their parents that Africans think hail comes out of the ground. And their parents are going to be going, tut tut, poor Africans. Which is my fault. Hello, lion person. It's a very interesting Twitter handle you have. Lion person, you want to know if we change our clocks for winter? We don't. The difference in day and night here is nothing like what it is, I'm assuming, in the US or in the UK or somewhere like that. It just doesn't, the difference doesn't warrant it. You could do it in Cape Town. Cape Town, because they're that much further south, the difference in day length does vary a bit more than it does here. But for example here, so I mean we're just after 6 o'clock, it's dark. And in winter, in the depths of winter, it'll be dark by 5:30. But in summer, it's only dark, you know, it's less than an hour and a half's difference. So it'll be dark sort of just after 7 o'clock in this particular part of the world. So daylight savings doesn't really, we could do it, but it doesn't make nearly as much sense as it does in Europe or in the UK or in America. So I don't think anywhere in Africa does it. If I'm not mistaken, nowhere in Africa has daylight savings, because most of it is too close to the equator for it to make an appreciable difference. And Raisa in Finland says it's overcast and 8 degrees Celsius, and by May it will be a whopping 12 degrees Celsius, and you'll be going into the springtime. That's pretty much winter for here, I suppose. But Raisa, please keep us posted as the months go by, because I'm fascinated by weather in different parts of the world, especially in Scandinavia, where it's just very chilly and very dark for a substantial proportion of the year. Degrees in May. It'll be about 12 degrees in May here too, on the very coldest days. We're making our way towards quarantine clearings, where we should get a nice view of the stars, and I'll show you what I know, and you can maybe ask me, look what I found, David. Look, I'm a genius. There's a chameleon, everybody. Let me turn this light onto it. There we go. There he is, flat-necked chameleon. I'm not really a genius. He stands out like a sore thumb when you put the spotlight on him. He's lurking, hiding behind the green bushes, green leaves of a silver cluster leaf. No, he's not. He's on a combretum. He's on a red bush willow. Isn't that nice? Oh. Super zoom in. Good job. They all have that yellow stripe down the side, everyone. It's the only species of chameleon we get here, sadly. I'm not sure why it's sad, but it is the only species we get here. How perfectly neatly his prehensile tail has been folded up for his snooze. Just imagine for a second, if you will, the coordination required and the sort of ligament and tendon and muscle coordination required to hang on to a branch that thin, go to sleep and remain completely motionless for the night. I think it's absolutely incredible. So sweet. Alrighty, on we go. We had a question about hyenas and if they're active mostly in day or night. Definitely at night. Hyenas are a nocturnal predator. And that question, unsurprisingly, comes from someone called Hyena Channel. Alrighty. We'll go down Mvubur. No, we won't. We'll go down... Oh, only 18 minutes to close. We can drive a bit quicker. Ten minutes will probably be enough for our stars. You can still see just the dying embers of the day as we head west up levels of Cutline. Maybe we'll see Djuma along here. Since VM and Sam found Djuma the leopard along this road, so VM has insisted that every time he goes on drive, we now drive levels of Cutline because Djuma is now VM's leopard of choice. Yes, absolutely, Sean from Secunda, we will definitely do that. We're going to look at Jupiter and see if we can find the moons again. I'm just going to let it get a little bit darker. Yeah, I mean, when we stop now and turn all the lights off, it'll be pretty dark. So we'll just get to quarantine and then we'll do exactly that. And while I do that, I'm just going to ask somebody to look up, if you don't mind, a very accurate last count of Jupiter's moons. Because I got the figure of 10 the other day and I don't think that's correct. I think they're more than that. Right, let's go down Mvubu Road, which means Hippopotamus Road. Quite cool in the dip here, Dave. Freezing, isn't it? It's dropped to about 22 degrees Celsius. Thank you very much. We've got a count of 67 moons. I think it is something now ridiculous like that. Unbelievable. So we can see 3 of them, everyone. We're going to be able to see 3 through this brilliant camera. I can see Jupiter above us. So we'll just get onto a flat spot and then we'll have a look-see. And drive slightly faster. I don't want to not have enough time for it to get there. But I suppose you can always join us tomorrow night. And we will, when I next go on leave, I'm definitely going to go and get a pointer. So Farideen, you want a useful Shangaan phrase for the day. I'm not sure I can teach you a useful one. How about I teach you one that is relevant to the day, such as Sateka Gukuma Sihari. It is difficult to find the animals. Sateka, that means it is hard. Sateka Gukuma, to find. Gukuma, Sateka Gukuma Sihari. Sihari, animals. Sihari. Sateka Gukuma Sihari. There we go. Safari Dean. Sateka Gukuma Sihari. Yes. That's a great. I'm not sure how useful it is, like I say, but it's quite a good term for today. I'll teach you one more, and this one is Ilava Guvona Tingwana. Ilaguvona Tingwana. We want to see the little leopards. Ilaguvona Tingwana. Ilaguvona Tingwana. So you can say that around your homes now. You can walk about the place saying to each other, yeah, ilaguvona Tingwana. Sateka Gukuma Sihari. Marilaguvona Tingwana. Okay, everyone got it? Dave, you got it?
I think so.
Okay. Alrighty. Just gonna pop across the damn wall and then we'll be in a position to look at the stars. Bob, you say Jupiter's got 50 moons and 17 provisional moons. What in the blazes is a provisional moon, Bob? I wonder if our moon is provisional or real. Hold on tight, everybody. Move your dentures out. Oh, goodness. Dreadful. David, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Something of a swamp formed in the middle of the road there a time back. Oh, a provisional moon is apparently an asteroid, so not quite a moon, maybe. Temporarily considered a moon. I'd hate to be known as a provisional moon. Must feel so emasculating to be known as a provisional moon. It's like being known as a provisional man. I do know some provisional men. Right, we're arriving now at the Djuma Dam, over which we shall trundle, and then on to the Forenton clearings for the great star examination with the X150, sorry. David? Z150. Right, Z150, thank you. You've got all the controls, have you? James Richard, nice question. What's the Shangan word for moon and sun? The moon is Nyanga, N-Y-A-N-G-A, Nyanga, and the sun is Jambo. It's a lovely word, Jambo. And the stars, Tinyeleti. One star, Nyeleti, many stars, Tinyeleti. And we'll just get out of the way of the lodge here, and then we'll go and look at the Tinyeleti. Get out of the way, rabbit. The rabbit has moved. It wasn't a rabbit, it was a hare, of course, sitting in the road, gormlessly looking about the place, about to be eaten, no doubt, by a giant eagle owl. My skill with the spotlight is exceptional. One chameleon in 700 miles. Okay. Looks like it's taken forever to get here, David. Alright. We're on quarantine. I think we'll stop about here. Let's kill all the lights. And what we'll find is that the stars will suddenly emerge. Right. Darby. There is Jupiter there behind us. We'll just try, oh, you got it, straight away. Straight onto Jupiter. All right, now let's try and zoom in as far as we can, and we'll see if we can see the moons. Why'd you kill that light? Sorry. There we go. Just making sure that is Jupiter. Although I don't see any moons. Hold on a sec. No, that's definitely Jupiter. Is that as far in as we can get? It's a bit distressing that we can't see the moons yet. No moons tonight. That's very odd. Just make sure that, or ask the final control to check what other planets there are in the sky at the moment. I mean, we saw the moon so clearly last time. No, that's fine. It might not have risen yet. No, I mean, I'm 90% sure that's what it is. All right, that's Jupiter, everyone. Let's try now to have a look at the Southern Cross, which is behind us. Can you see it there, Dave? It's basically 180 degrees from where you are now. So everybody, just excuse the jumping. The frame rate is very, what did we say? Not frame rate, the very low frame rate.
Yep.
So that's why it's jumping a bit. So you will see stars swinging past now. Keep going, Dave. That's it there. So, okay. We might have to move slightly. Sorry, everybody. Hang on one sec. You should be able to get it now. There we go. Just zoom all the way out, if you don't mind. Unless you can see it. There we go. That's it there. Stop there. Out a bit more, if you can. You max out. Okay, there's the cross. Top left-hand corner of your... Stop there. Top left-hand corner of your screen is the cross. Now, it's those four stars that are very obvious there in a kite shape that is facing sort of towards the bottom right of your screen. Now, Dave, if you just tilt down slightly, down a bit, keep going, a little bit left. There, stop. A little bit left just in case it's being cut off. There, those two stars there are the 2 pointers, Alpha and Beta Centauri. Now, the way you find south is to take a perpendicular bisector between those two stars. So basically you draw a line between them, draw a perpendicular line sort of in the middle of the line between those two stars, and draw it out straight towards the right-hand side of your screen. Then you go back up to the cross. A bit up to the cross, Dave. Tilt up a bit. There's the cross. Yep, that's fine. And then you take the long axis of the cross, so the star to the far left-hand corner, down towards the one on the sort of right-hand side of the cross, and you draw a line all the way through there and all the way along. And where the line of that and the perpendicular bisector between the 2 pointers meets is celestial south, which means that when we had a south star, like you've got a north star, that's where it would be. And then you drop to the horizon, and that, everybody, is how you find south. Then, Darby, we can have a good look at Orion's belt, and I made a horrible mistake the other night. It's straight up there in front of us.
Got him.
You got him?
Yeah.
So, it's like being at a planetarium, everyone. There he is. Look, you can get the whole hunter in there. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's perfect. Stop there. That's the whole hunter. So, top or bottom, sort of the reddish star, is shoulder, Betelgeuse. The belt stars, the 3 belt stars you can see in the middle of the screen. Then that kind of obvious, well, semi-obvious group of stars pointing up towards the left-hand corner, that is the sword. And then the very bright star, the very brightest star there, the bluish one, is called not Aldebaran, which is what I called it last time. It's Rigel, or Rigel. And that is the knee. Those are the 2 knees. You can see the 2 knees of Orion the hunter, the 2 shoulders, Betelgeuse, and the other one, and his belt. And that is Orion the hunter. Very, very famous in Egyptian mythology, of course. Just see if you can zoom in on Betelgeuse there, Dave. Let's see if we can get that kind of deep red color. There it is. Now, it's red, of course, because it is a red giant. Now, I very hurriedly went through the description of what a red giant is the other day. Now, I'm going to have to sit very still because, of course, the closer in, ooh, look at that color. Hey? It makes you feel like you're in the universe. What grief, David. That's amazing. So that red that you can see is because the star, oh, Wow. What is that? Are you just changing the focus?
It's just the focus.
That's amazing. So that red color comes from the fact that that star is in the dying phases of its life. It's much bigger than our sun, at least 4 times the size of our sun, and it's called a red giant. I think it's probably a lot more than 4 times the size, but that's potentially how big it is.
Should we try Jupiter again?
Yeah, we can try Jupiter again.
Because I think it's just behind us.
Okay. You don't think that was what we were looking at?
No, I think we may have had the wrong one.
Where are you looking? Was that not what we were looking at? Oh, okay. Okay, we did have the wrong one. So while Dave goes to Jupiter, I'll just tell you about a red giant. Remember, all stars are hydrogen atoms, basically, going into helium atoms through the process of nuclear fusion. And I mean, they give out that massive amount of energy, as described by Einstein's very famous equation E equals mc squared. But as the hydrogen burns up to helium, so those reactions become less and less, and the star becomes redder as the energy it gives off becomes less. So the red star is giving off less energy than a blue or blue to white star. There are the moons. Well done, Darby. There they are, jumping around like a jack in a box. There's Jupiter, everyone. Oh, that's great. I'm assuming that the 3 moons we can see are not, in fact, what were they called? Proto-moons, what were they? Provisional moons. Those are real moons. So you can see 2, and then just behind the one, I don't know what the resolution on your screen is like, but just behind the one on the right-hand side, you can see another one. That is so awesome. That is just fantastic. So that's Jupiter. So just back to the red giant. It's giving off less energy than a white star like our sun, and that helium will eventually, the star will eventually collapse under its own weight, and the helium will form even heavier elements. And that is how we think the heavier elements of the world, for example carbon, which we are made of, were formed. Isn't that lovely? Brilliant. Just brilliant. All right, and we'll show you one more thing. Am I still plugged in here? Rebecca, are you talking to me or are you not talking? Oh, I'm not even plugged in, no wonder.
1 minute to close.
1 minute to close, good grief. Hang on, everybody. I've lost my earpiece. Good grief, I'm waffling. I'll be waffling on until next year. Okay, I'm back in, Rebecca. All right, look at the moons now. You can still see them there. All right, I wanted to show you Sirius, but we won't show you Sirius tonight. We'll save that for another night. We'll have many nights of stars going forward. All right, everyone, thank you very much for joining me, and a big thank you to David for putting up with me, and Sam for, of course, going home early with his sore ear, and big thanks to Rebecca and Kirsten in the final control, and all of you for your questions and comments and great conversation. We'll see you in the morning at 6 o'clock. Until then, stay safe.